Hi guys, Erik Swanson. Hey, I've got a question for you. I'm curious how many of you all think that you have an amazing memory. My question to you is this. Let me ask you a different way. Have you ever gone up to somebody and you introduce yourself and yet you forgot their name in like 4 seconds? Have you ever done this before? It's really embarrassing. And guess what? We're learning that you are dropping your income on a consistent level because of name recalling. There's studies coming out that are telling us nowadays you're either gaining or losing about 7 or 8% of your income because of name recalling. I don't know if that's big in your mind, that's a lot in mine. What that means to me, if you divide it all out, it means out of 100 clients, new clients, you are losing about 7 or 8 of those clients. You just have to give back that commission, give back that revenue, but you still need to do the work with them throughout the client. Does that make sense? Wow, that was just an eye-opener for me. And you know, Dale Carnegie had written a lot about remembering people's names in regard to their favorite word in their mind. And the sweetest sound to their ears, to people's ears, are their own name. So stop doing what I used to do. I used to grab a pen and I'd go up to somebody, I forgot their name, and I'd grab my pen and I'd say, literally, like writing their name down, I'd say, I'm sorry, how do you spell your name again? And you know what they say? B-O-B, how do you spell Bob? It makes me look really, really lousy. And it doesn't build up that credibility and that long-term relationship. So let me share with you, let's get right into it. Let me share with you 3 techniques, or actually it's 3 steps. It's 1 technique, but 3 steps to this technique of recalling 80%, 90% of the people's names that you meet out there. You ready? You want this? Let's do it right now. Here, grab a pen and write this down. It's called bracketing, okay? Bracketing. Because what I'm going to teach you to do is bracket their name in your mindset. You're going to literally put it in your mindset so you don't have to worry about it. How many of y'all have done that before, where you're just worrying about it? You're literally saying to yourself, now don't forget their name, don't forget their name, don't forget their name, and guess what you just did? You forgot their name. Or you go to a networking environment. Now I teach how to do this, how to go to a networking group or networking environment, like a business-to-business networking group or a chamber function, let's say, if you're out there and you're meeting different people and you want to build your business. Well, you go to these meetings, right? And you meet some different people in all different types of industries. Wouldn't it be fantastic if I could teach you a way to recall everyone's names so that you can literally recall it back to them and impress them, but more importantly, impress upon them that they're important to you? Make sense? Here it is. It's called bracketing. And by the way, on the networking groups and chamber groups, my record right now is 158 individuals. I remembered. I didn't even know I was doing it. I just practice what I preach. You got to do the same thing. I found out because one of my assistants, as we were leaving the chamber function, he said, do you know what you just did? I said, I don't know, I was awesome. He goes, no, besides that, you remembered, and he had a little check mark on a piece of paper. He goes, and he added it up, 158 people that you remembered. I was like, that's great. So here's how to do it. It's called bracketing, 3 steps. Number 1, first step, place their name at the beginning of the first sentence. Write that down. By the way, I highly recommend to write this down. Do not rely on your memory for the memory training, okay? So write this down. Place their name at the beginning of the first sentence. That's rule number 1, okay? Rule number 2, put down number 2. Rule number 2 is this. Place their name towards the end of the next sentence. So rule number 1 is place their name at the beginning of the first sentence. So it's literally the first word out of my mouth, and I'll explain it in 2 seconds here. Then put it towards the end of the next sentence, okay? Rule number 3, write this down, then I'll explain it. Rule number 3 is this. Repeat their name 3 to 5 times. 3 to 5 times, okay? Repeat it. To yourself, not out loud. Do not repeat it out loud. It's a big, big, big discount in your income, okay? So do not repeat it out loud. So what you're going to do is you're going to say their name 3 to 5 times in your mindset after you do your steps 1 and step 2. So let me explain how to do this. Ready? Here we go. When you're meeting somebody, let's say you're going to meet over here, I don't know, let's make a name, Susan. Okay, so I'm going to introduce myself. I'm going to say, as I'm shaking her hand, I'm going to say, hi, my name's Erik. What is your name? And she's going to say, Susan. As I'm shaking her hand, I'm going to say, Susan, my pleasure meeting you today. See, I did that. I put her name at the beginning of the first sentence as I meet her after I hear her name. So, hi, my name's Erik. What's your name? Susan. Susan, my pleasure meeting you today. Okay? Now, rule number 2, as I'm taking away my hand from her and shaking her hand, I'm going to repeat her name towards the end of the next sentence. So I'm going to ask her any other question. I'm going to say something like this. Hey, let me ask you a quick question, Susan. You see how that works? So I said, Susan, great meeting today. Hey, let me ask you a quick question, Susan. And then I'm not going to repeat it anymore because it's going to sound too cheesy. But repeat it to your mindset as you're looking right at her. In your mindset 3 to 5 times. They won't notice you're doing this, and I highly recommend you practicing this. Practice at home. Practice with people you know. Practice at your grocery store. Practice at your church group. Practice anywhere you can so that you can, even if you know the people's names, use this system. Put it in the beginning of the first sentence, then towards the end of the next, and repeat it 3 or 4 times in your mind. That's it. You will remember people's names like this. Practice makes, well, perfect practice makes perfect, doesn't it? So if you're practicing the correct techniques, it's like a recipe for success. I highly recommend using it, and it's easy not to do. It's easy to do also, though, but it's easy not to do. So I highly recommend doing it, and I look forward to working with you in the future. Thank you so much, Erik Swanson.